When I woke up, Mark was sitting by my bedside, holding my hand. 1,000 different feelings and questions were all mixed and quiet. For one terrifying instant, I thought I was shaking, and I felt ridiculous. Lots of people have binoculars. I have no proof against Cindy. I could hardly believe the time had already come, but she had recently had her first period and was just starting to be aware of other female problems. I smiled to myself at her message. I loved what I saw in your window last night. I'll be watching for more tonight. Leave the building. But the bluish glow from Shelley's TV set was still showing through the crack under her door. She must have turned the sound very low.
What could it mean, I wondered. Had I actually been so careless as to sleep? But the bluish glow from Shelley's TV set was still showing through the crack under her door. She must have turned the sound very low. I smiled to myself at her crumpled note again. When Cindy had gone to her room, I phoned the police and told them the whole story of my harassment. Mark was right. They weren't very interested. They told me to hang on to the notes for handwriting analysis and to report any further messages.
What can the matter be? Nancy is losing her mind.
When I hung up, the place seemed so still and quiet.
He mixed some pretty potent whiskey sours, and I started to relax as we sat at his kitchen table and discussed my alternatives.
I feel so much better knowing you're looking out for me, Mark.
I was
But
sinking
listen,
fast,
Why don't you call me
and then
Nancy
a sudden
again?
spark of hope.
And there was no
Footsteps
evidence
in the outer
anywhere.
room, and Mark's
Mrs.
voice
Mark
calling,
Kelsey.
"Nancy,
I may have been
Nancy, are
foolish
you all
even to
right?
let myself think.
I feel so much better knowing you're looking out for
He
me,
looked
Mark.
at me with such
But
tender
listen,
concern.
Why don't you call me?
His hand reaching to touch my shoulder
But listen,
seemed so
why don't you
natural
call
and
me Nancy
sympathetic.
again?
Hey,
And there was no
you look
evidence
like you could use a
anywhere
drink,
of
he
a Mrs.
said.
Mark Kelsey.
if it's too early for
think
a
I-
cocktail, how about
I may
a
have
Coke
been foolish
or
to
iced
even
tea?
let myself think. Nancy, it's Mark. Are you all right? I realized I wanted
Nancy,
his arms
it's
around
Mark.
me at that
Are you all
moment.
right?
I stepped
I
out into the
realized I
hallway
wanted
with him,
his arms
gently
around me at
closing
that
my
moment.
door.
I stepped
Skip,
out into
this
the
may
hall.
sound strange, but have you ever noticed anybody, probably somebody in the same apartment?
That's good.
Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? When I got home from the drugstore Saturday, my heart was pounding as I opened the mailbox. This time there was some legitimate mail, a letter from my mother, a magazine I subscribed to, and a notice of a PTA meeting from Cindy's school. But as I pulled them out, the dreaded index card fluttered to the floor. I loved what I saw in your window last night. I'll be watching for more tonight. Your secret admirer. She was looking at me curiously, swinging her school satchel in front of that freaky message. You look so funny, Cindy said as we got nervous and fidgety. You look so funny, Cindy said as we got nervous and fidgety.
You look so funny, Shelley said, as we got nervous and fidgety. Then I bolted the door, went to the kitchen, and poured a glass of orange juice.
Continued on page 49. When Cindy had settled herself at the piano again, Cindy called out, Mom, would you like to hear the new
would you
first
like to
note?
hear the new first note?
Oh, you're a persistent son of a bitch, man. Come on in. I'll give you my wife's story. I've got to disguise myself when I go out in public to drop off the stories because I don't want anybody to recognize me for who I am. It's like a public service I'm doing here, so I don't really want any credit for myself. I can't make any kind of profit off of it, or it's all wrong. I haven't slept in 2 years because I hate that drowsy sinking sensation. I try to stay awake so I can remember things, and I stay awake so I can remember things. Everything stays sharp and clear, and nothing gets what's the word? Stigmatized. Well, maybe that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. The brain likes to sleep. free and it's creative when it's sleeping. But the eyes, they like to stay awake. Eyes they like reality. They don't really like fantasy that much. They're looking for reality, and then your eyes, they'll look at anything. They'll look at, man, the most horrible, disgusting thing, man. Get your little rods and cones going, man. They perk up and like little hard-ons inside your eye, man, and they're ready to go, for your protection. Now, I used to be a voyeur. I'd always be constantly watching people, trying to figure out what they're doing. I think that's it. But I don't do that anymore because I couldn't see everything. The window shades are never completely open. Nowadays, I just collect things, mainly a lot of written materials. I like them because the words, they don't ever fade out. They stay in focus. They're not like pictures or memories. Everything stays sharp and clear.
Okay.
Words, they can get kind of sticky though, and they can start clinging to each other. So what I do is I try to sort them out and separate them and clean them up, make them bright and shiny like, just like your eyes.
Keeping an eye on the courtyard.
It means like having an eye like a window that everything shines into. This is what I do. My agent brings me a stack of raw material. I cut out the words. I glue them together, and then I type the sentences that come out together on index cards.
Good, man.
The cards, they tell a story. You can start at any point. I kicked off my shoes and laid back on the bed listening to Cindy at the piano.
She was wearing
really
a pair
getting
of tight jeans,
and her piano
a little
teacher
too
was
tight,
very
I thought,
encouraging.
and the lowest cut
Best
blouse
of
I'd
all,
ever seen
she seemed
on
to
her.
love practicing.
I had known she was
And it filled her
unusually
time when
developed
she
for her
bothered to
age.
fix herself
She
up.
had been wearing bras for a year.
Mom?
Trouble reconciling myself with these little blue lines because they kept the lines of print separated to where it separated the meanings of the different lines and stuff. So I was trying to figure out a way to get that stuff off there and trying to boil them. Put them in here and stir them around for a while. Works pretty good sometimes. Anyway, after I boil them for a while, kind of hang them up here, dry out. And when the lines come off of them, I know which ones to use. And I take all the ones without the lines wrap them up in these little bags here. Put a title on the top of the stack, sign the last card, X, friend. You drop them off in the mailbox or just, anywhere somebody would find one. And I just wait. Just wait. Pretty soon they turn up in print. I saw a story in a women's magazine last week that was based on one of my little bags of story here. Hey, look at this. Look at how there's a double line of print on the back, just one print on the front. I guess the cards lay against each other to pick up lines on the back.
My daughter's voice startled me, and I whirled around, crumpling the card in my fist. I guess I was already expecting the writer of that note to turn up in any moment. I called the drugstore and asked them to send over a prescription I had used before.
Something a little stronger would be nice. Something to help you sleep. A nice, deep sleep.
I called the drugstore and asked them to send over a prescription I had used before. Something a little stronger would be nice. Something to help you sleep. A nice, deep sleep.
Are you Mrs. Page? He said with a friendly smile.
Nancy, he said very
Nancy
softly.
Page, Cindy said.
Try not to worry.
Although I wasn't sure
I'm
why
going
she
to
was
be looking out for
emphasizing
you.
the first name.
Although I wasn't
sure why she was emphasizing the first name. I certainly
so
wasn't
good
ready
to
for
have an
another
attractive
relationship
man.
with a man.
Probably somebody in the
Nancy,
same
he said
apartment
very
building.
softly, try
Somebody
not to
who could
worry. I'm going to be looking
Figure
out
out
for
from
you.
the position of your window which apartment
It's so good to
number
have
is
an
yours.
attractive man,
I certainly
probably
wasn't
someone
ready
in
for
this
another
same apartment
relationship with a
building,
man.
someone who can figure out from the
I
position
gave a
of your
frustrated
window
sigh.
which apartment
What I
number
don't
was yours.
understand is what you think you're seeing. I never leave
I gave
my
a frustrated
window shades open.
sigh.
And
What
certainly
I don't
not
understand
after I got
is
the
what you
daughter,
think you're seeing,
Cindy.
or how
Nancy,
you're
he
watching.
said very softly.
I never leave my
Try
window
not to
shades
worry.
open.
Find out about what? She asked brightly. Then I remembered those awful women on TV doing it in a movie. It was one of those houses where, well, you know, they spent so much more time together at night. I made up my mind.
Cindy flirted outrageously all during dinner, and I was feeling like a drab housewife and cook instead of the hostess. But I was happy she was having a good time, even.
I was only 31, and with a blush, I wondered if I wasn't interested in a 12-year-old child. Anyway, Mark had already done more for me than he could possibly have imagined. By bringing that misplaced rent receipt, he had shown me how easy it is. Anyway, Mark had already done more for me than he could possibly have imagined. By bringing that misplaced rent receipt, he had shown me how easy it is for something to find its way into the wrong mailbox.
About half an hour later, the door buzzer sounded. It was Skip, delivering my order. "Hi, Skip," I said. "Am I glad to see you? I sound sort of hoarse." "Just a headache. I may be catching a cold or something. I took some medicine for it. I'll be okay. I just wanted to check on you." His voice was so warm and concerned. With another irresistible smile, he left. Rapturously.
He's super looking, she said rapturously. Aren't you glad he's living so close to us? Nancy, he went on, I've been keeping an eye on the courtyard, but nobody's been anywhere near your window. Thanks, Mark. That's very sweet of you. Thanks, Mrs. Page. Good night. As he turned away, I said impulsively, Skip.
"Hi, Skip," I said. "Am I glad to see you? I worry. I'm going to be looking out for you.
I'm Mark
I
Kelso.
just wanted to check on you."
I'm almost as new
His
as
voice
you.
was so warm and
I met him
concerned.
just last week.
I lay there,
Poor dear.
frozen,
Right
helpless,
in the hall.
hating myself for doubting
Oh,
Mark,
I'm
for
glad
jumping
to
to
know you.
conclusions.
This is my
It had been Skip
right
all
opposite
along, and I'd
Mrs.
be
Page.
okay.
Another one? It was Mark.
So
And
that
his
was
voice
it.
was such a comfort.
The drowsy, sinking sensation
Hello.
I'd been struggling against.
My voice was weak and husky.
Oh,
Nancy,
dear
it's
God, I
Mark.
thought. I can't let myself go to sleep
Give it
now.
a
But my head was whirling,
I'll talk to you
darkness
tomorrow.
closing in around me.
My head was
I lay there,
swimming in cloudy
frozen,
haze.
helpless,
Strength draining.
hating myself.
I can't let myself go to sleep now. Mark! So that was it, the drowsy, sinking sensation I'd been struggling against. It had been Skip all along, and I'd missed. Now I understand.
Hello, Mark.
Cindy?
So glad you could make it for dinner. We've only lived here for 2 days. 2 days.
Well, don't go anywhere alone at night. Creeps like this may follow you home.
Anyway, I was happy for the excuse to drop over and tell you. It had been Skip all along. And if you need any help getting settled and all, please call a medication and put in a tip for him.
Was there anything I could possibly do for a father image young enough to seem romantic to her? Are you old Mr. Hacksaw? He's really weird. He's always looking out of his window with binoculars. Mr. Hacksaw? A light came on in the window above me. The shade slid up, and I realized it was Cindy's room.
I was afraid to look. I just stood quietly for a long moment, leaning there, trying to control my breathing. From somewhere behind the shrubberies, not 50 feet away from me, a flashlight blinked on and off, its beam aimed toward the window. So it had begun. And a moment later, as I unfolded it, my fear was confirmed. I watched my 15-year-old daughter give a sex show. I watched my 12-year-old daughter give a sex show. I watched my 12-year-old daughter give a sex show. I watched my 15-year-old daughter give a sex show. I watched my 15-year-old daughter give a sex show. Come on, take it all off, I heard Skip's voice dimly, and then the squeaking of the bed springs. Was there anything I could possibly do for a father image young enough to seem romantic to her? Oh, Cindy. She's all right, Mark gently assured me. Cindy's just fine. She wasn't hurt, and the behavior? Did I really know my daughter? Her dreams, frustrations, and feelings? Any better than I had known Skip? Was her compulsion to strip in front of her window really good for Cindy? Come on, take it all off, I heard Skip's voice dimly. Oh, Cindy.
I had known she was unusually developed for her age. She'd been wearing bras for a year. Unconvincingly, I thought, and hugged her sensuously up her thighs, across her tummy, and over her breast. And she began to caress herself, her hands gliding at me. Mom, are you okay? As I started to call out to her, she eased close. She looked so innocent and vulnerable. If you'll just relax, you won't have any more worries now. Mom, would you like to hear the new story of my harassment? I rocked her gently in my arms. Oh, Cindy, it's my fault, too. Since the divorce, I've thought only of my own needs. I've been content to let you entertain yourself with TV every night, while I sat in my room feeling sorry, nervous, and fidgety. How many hours, I wondered, had she lived out these sexual fantasies alone in her room?
Man, I gotta take a break from this stuff, man. I'm trying to turn around and the camera in my face. Go down and smoke me a cigarette. What now? She is just starting to be aware of female problems.
Are you old Mr. Hacksaw? He's really weird. He's always looking out of his window with binoculars. Mr. Hacksaw? You look so funny, Shelley said as we got them out. Then what should I do? It'll drive me crazy if these things keep coming. The dreaded index cards fluttered to the floor. I tore off the unwanted message and dropped it gently. And then I remembered the awful women on TV doing it in a movie. It was one of those houses where, well, you know, they hang on to the notes for handwriting analysis and to report any further messages.
hardly believe the time had been placed in the wrong box, too. That was probably the answer.